We have announcement out of closed session for action taken in closed session. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay. For the first. Stop.
So there's, can I make an announcement about these mics? Did I put them there too? Oh, if you push the button on the bottom. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I just talk, I'm close to it.
Working, so it's not working.
What is it?
Hold on. Go ahead, you see that one.
Okay, closed section 5A, personal action list. For 4/14/26, we have 39-month rehire list, Joanne Campbell, 39-month rehire list, food two, classified Orleans. For spring break hires, we have, these are all stipend, they're all classified, and they all at food elementary. We have Travis Sims, ground supervisor, Rowena Holbrook, ground supervisor, Floyd Billings, ground supervisor, Mary Ferreira, custodian, Earl Matz, driver, and Lynn Moore, driver. For retirement and resignation, we have Willie Osler, retirement, chief of school safety, confidential management, district-wide. Gerald Soho, retirement, art teacher, certificated, high. Karen Cole, resignation, principal, certificate management, Orleans Michigan. Maura Cole, resignation, you're a language teacher, certificated, high. For coaches and advisors, we have Wayne King III, coach, 7th grade boys basketball, walk-on for 4 weeks. Alexandra Hodge, volunteer coach, softball, walk-on, high. And the motion to approve the personnel action list for 4/14/26 with edits was by trustee Colgrove, second by trustee Gray, and was unanimous. Thank you, everyone. That's the
That brings us to the information discussion correspondence. Juliet. Go ahead and pronounce your last name.
Maestas.
Juliet Maestas, Supa Tribe Executive Director, requested to introduce the Building Lives by Structure application for Factoryville Housing Regional Pilot Program as a grant for housing for employees at the school district. And she's looking for a letter of support from the board, but our Zoom went down and I don't believe she made it here to the meeting. So there's a meeting tomorrow that Jacqueline and Frank Richard will be going to with Juliet. And we'll get more information regarding that item for and we will follow it up.
Did we do 7 already?
Next we have the first reading of a policy and regulation number 5136, gangs for updates. It's a first reading of a regulation. Second C is the first reading of a similar regulation 5137.7, policy and regulation for weapons and dangerous instruments for updates. E, we have review of attendance report per site for school year 2025-2026 for Trinity Valley Elementary, Cooper Valley Elementary, Orleans Elementary, Jack Martin Elementary, District Rock Magnet Elementary, Captain John High School, and Cooper Valley Junior Senior High School. And go ahead, trustee Ray, have a question?
Just the point of order, did we do public comment on agenda items?
We did public comment on agenda items at the agenda item.
Okay, well, it's there. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll do the, as soon as we have an action item, then we'll do public comment on that item. So that brings us to the consent agenda. We have commercial warrants for March 2026. Approved board meeting minutes for January 26, 2026, and approval of the Williams fourth quarter report for school year 2025-2026. Are there questions on any of those by the board?
Questions on the bills and warrants? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. And I also I'll not vote on the minute because I wasn't at that meeting.
You'll speak a little lower and, you.
I wasn't at that.
Yeah.
So
Page you looking at?
I'm trying to get to it.
I hope it doesn't see any good at home, so the only one is the line.
I think that one will work now too.
So, okay. Can you use that for your question, please, Trustee Gray?
See if it works.
Has the amendment. On page 36, at the top, California Department of Education Cashier's Office, it looks like we sent back $21,106.30. I don't know if that's true or
I'm not sure.
that's what, it looks like it's maybe American Indian Early Child Education Fund that we sent back. I just had a question about why and what it was exactly. And the other question was, it's on 2 different pages. It is just the checks to the, okay, so page 29 is one of them.
29?
Yes.
Which meeting then?
Huh?
From a previous meeting then?
This is bills and warrants
For this,
right now.
so we're on the 9A already?
We are,
Yeah.
yes.
Consent. We're on the consent agenda.
So if you have, he was asking about 7, because that's why I asked. Is if you have comments on agenda items, you can make it at the time of the agenda item.
So did A, B, C, and D, E already go back?
No, but we are at the point where we're having board discussion, and when it's ready for time for public comment, I will ask for it.
Right.
Okay. So on page 29, the West Coast Fire and Water, and there's another one.
That was.
But I was just wondering, will we be reimbursed?
Yes.
That's all we questioned.
There was 2.
There were 2 to the tune of like 130,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will be reimbursed by, insurance.
Insurance, okay. Those are my questions.
Those had to do with the Burning School.
Yes.
They were the
Where's the
company
second
that
one?
won.
Where's the second one? Trustee?
I see the one for 68, where's?
There's 2, they're about 130,000
okay.
together.
Okay.
West Coast Fire and Water bottom.
Yeah.
63.
Bottom of 29, and then.
And then in the middle of the page, the 68,515.
Reimbursement. So we'll have, Trustee Gray. Superintendent will get back to you on the answer for your first question.
The first question. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Is that it for your?
That was it.
Any other board members have questions on? Okay, do I have, public comment on the consent agenda?
Yeah, 9A.
Could you please come up?
Yeah.
and Luke, Parkhurst,
It's me again.
if you could say, just direct us to the page.
Yes, okay, so. Hello. Okay, it is.
This one is, you want
Okay.
this?
I don't think your mic's on.
This one.
Better, okay. Page number 33. So there was $198,500 for California vendor camps. I think that was the last week's.
Yes.
This is the spring break camp. It sounded like it would be great. Shout out to Alon for pulling that together and all the work Alon's been doing with the after school program. However, I'm concerned, just thinking about, it's actually kind of frustrating, though, it's like $200,000 to have event. When I think the LOP goes K through 5, K through 6, and we have 5 schools that are K through 5, right? Trinity Valley, Hoopa, us, and then Wichita, Jackmore. So $200,000 that could be like $1,000 for every single school week for each of those schools to put on. I think like Bubba does stuff here for like $500 or $1,000, getting tons of kids to do something for the weekend, playing basketball. We did a fundraiser, working our butts off to make $400, selling $10 like tacos, and see $200,000 spent on 5 days is. I just think there's a lot of other places that money could have gone. So I would love to see those ELOP funds have some discussion where staff can be involved, where we can have creative solutions. We have so many meetings to spend $50,000 out of school site for our Title I. And there's lots of ways I think we could have creative with spent $200,000, putting the money in the hands of local community members, doing important cultural work here instead of an out-of-town group. So, yeah, there's some plan. I know in other schools, they divvy it up by school site, so if we equitable, you don't have to do the same thing at every school site with the LOP. You can just make sure there's an equitable amount for each school. I think our school represents about 10% of the K-6 population. So out of the 900,000 for the whole ELOP budget, it'd be nice to have $90,000 for our school site to do enrichment here that's easily accessible for our community. That's my comment.
Thank you.
So that does bring a question up for me, and I don't know if that. Is it on? So my question is, I thought that, last year, when we were noticing that, oh my gosh, how we're gonna spend all this money, that there was gonna be a committee formed, of school staff, is that so that we can explore, because this is so hard, this money is so hard to spend.
Not production. They do all sorts of stuff.
So did we form a committee? Was there input from staff?
Is that something the board wants me to do?
You know what, and last year it fell apart. What is that?
I don't remember a committee. I do remember that we have a brand new director, and I believe she was going. Can't hear you.
Okay, and I think that maybe where that plan fell apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's not working. The plan is to go out to each individual site and get their plans. That's the plan. I don't know what's happening. I don't remember a committee, but I do remember each individual site, we're going to be asked to submit their ideas on how they would like to spend the money at their site. Terry, I think you were there.
I was there and I asked, what were the administrators from each site going to be brought in to give their input on the money?
A plan for
On
the
plan.
money, so that would be the principles of each site.
Yeah, I think our principal sent requests and we were told there was no money. Right,
No, not for any individual issue or plan, but for an entire plan.
did we send one?
I sent information to the board.
So,
So I think that one of the things that's misunderstood a little bit about the LOP is the way that it can be spent, and that it has to be offered to every student district wide. Whatever we do has to be offered to every student district wide. And I think that in way to come up with creative ways of doing that, there should be a committee that meets. Because we're really just talking about the money that's left over for summer school too, right? Because after summer school, we have about, what, 600,000 left? I mean, that's not much, but I think that probably and Jacqueline, you're excused because you were in these discussions last year when these problems were brought up. So, but I think that we probably need to revisit that.
It'd be nice to be involved.
can we, if you have a comment, we really need you to come to the.
Okay, well, I made this comment a year ago, and you're just like, well, I don't know what happened. And it's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, that's so much money. I'm pissed.
Point of order, please. Show respect, please. We are trying, we're willing to do whatever we need to do. We need to have the, I see what you're saying, because I see the needy. I see the different, athletic groups. And I know of the situation that you're talking about with pick ship and stuff. It's a wonderful program, you know, and we all totally agree. But it's a matter of finding a way for that to fit into the rules. So and that's what we were talking about, getting all the administrators at to sit down and make their plans. So that we could try to wrap that up in there, because we can't just offer on this to one side, it has to be district wide. So. Hang on, huh?
I just got a question.
Okay, Joe, so could you come up, Joe, and
I just got a couple questions to clarify about the money. And so this is like rollover money that wasn't spent from the prior year? No.
Every year we get $900,000 to spend.
And does that roll over?
It does.
It- it rolls over for a certain period of time, each year it's be a little different.
If it's not spent, whatever was allocated, does that lower your budget for next year?
It goes back.
It goes back, but it hasn't lowered our budget yet.
Yeah, but
It hasn't.
potentially it can, if you're not spending.
I'm
Right?
not sure, actually.
That's typically is it an emerald?
Yeah, if you're not using it all, that
Not
makes sense.
using it, but down, not being, you're not showing needs, okay?
Yeah.
So, I guess my position is why I'm spending it, planning the creative ways to spend it, there seems like a lack of continuity in leadership.
We have a plan for ELOP. The spring break camp was part of the plan. Plan was written this year. Oh, sorry. We hired somebody to run ELOP and ACES. The plan was granted.
You're talking
What's
about,
that?
is this the committee?
No, it's the director of the program, and she wrote a plan for ELOP. Spring break camp was in that plan. We definitely have a late start on that. I think it is a good idea to have a committee. I think that is a good idea. For next year's plan, because she's working on, that plan right now.
Okay, so you have a plan, new plan.
So we have a plan in place. We have an ELOP plan in place.
We have a 2-year plan in place, isn't it?
No, this year.
Well, I included last year.
There was a separate plan last year.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that, I just questions, so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Now, on the minutes, I would like to have the minutes to be approved with edits, please. And I believe, Missy Gray, did you want to abstain from the minutes part, because you weren't there? I
don't know, do I need to? I just wasn't there. That's all. Okay.
Are you on? Yes, I'm calling for the question. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda? Agenda with the edits to the minutes.
Oh, Leslie's got it.
Well, I already have the motion. I have a motion made by trustee McLaughlin, seconded by trustee Gray to approve the consent agenda with edits to the minutes.
Then I'll start.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, consent agenda is approved. That brings us to agenda action items. The first one is approval of updates to the Orleans Elementary School plan for student achievement for the school year 2026. Presenters, Karen Cole, principal. Did you have anything to add to it, Karen, or?
Can I?
Huh?
I said, can I?
Yes.
So. I think this was the one we wanted to move $500. From one spot to another, is that what we're talking about? On my plan, on this, second?
Just trying down.
No, I thought we were just approving your SPSA, whatever.
We did that a long time ago.
Well, I thought we did too.
There was the funding edits, yeah.
Yeah, funding edits. We wanted to move a little bit of money around, and then we actually met, last night and talked about moving some more money around, and I have for you, but basically, we have money left in everyone to spend, and we have some field trips coming up we would like to go on, and we have spent down that line item, and so we would like to take some money from, I think it was our fundamental curriculum, and put it towards that section.
So are you saying that this one is incorrect, that you wanna change it again?
If I'm allowed to, yes, if I'm not allowed to, then just go with this one, and I'll get you that from the next meeting.
Yeah, why don't we do that, cause that's way easier for us, our finance department's not here, and we could just do this one, and then we can,
Okay,
and if you need it done sooner, you know, we can try to do a special meeting or something, I don't, but if it's not time sensitive, we can just change it again.
okay.
Can we do it, I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I think that you can usually move from, as long as it still fits the plan. But check with.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I'm more comfortable with, if this is good, doing it, and then getting another sheet like this and doing it and changing it. It's moving it around, that shouldn't be a problem, but we don't have a change before us,
Okay.
see what I mean? That shouldn't be a big at all. Do I have any public, comment on this agenda item? Okay, hearing no public comment? Do I have a motion?
Almost through the.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion made by trustee McLaughlin, seconded by trustee Gray to approve the updates to the Orleans Elementary School plan for student achievement SPSA school year 2020. It's 2025-2026. Correct? Right. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's approved. Thank you. That brings us to approval of the Community Valley Elementary School Plan for Student Achievement. SPSA for school year 2025-2026. Now, is this just a page 2, or is this the actual plan? And it has been through all the processes. Move through. Support approving it? Yes. Do I have any public comment for 10B regarding Community Valley's school plan? Annalise, if you could come up to the podium.
I think that she was really creative and making these nice work for school side.
Well, thank you. I wish you would come up here and say that with a mic. Thank you. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, trustee Gray, I feel like every time I say it, I'm looking at you.
No, it's
Like,
okay.
You got a second?
Okay.
Vote. I have a motion made by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Gray to approve the Trinity Valley Elementary School Plan for Student Achievement SPSA for school year 2025-2026. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? None. Seeing none? Motion is approved. That brings us to approval for the Hoopa Elementary sixth grade class field trip to Blue Creek Campground on June 3rd, 4th, 5th, 2026 to Butler Valley near Maple Creek, 25 miles east of Eureka, California. Presenter Brian Colgrove, trip coordinator. I don't see her here. Do I have any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Superintendent?
I approve. I'm excited for them.
Dr. Good.
Was that you, trustee Kelly? I have a motion made by trustee Colgrove, seconded by trustee Kelly to approve the Hoopa Elementary sixth grade class field trip to Blue Creek Campground on June 3rd, 4th, 5th, 2026 to Butler Valley near Maple Creek, 25 miles east of Eureka, California. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none?
Fond memories of my sister. Yeah, we've been many months ago.
That brings us to approval of the Lot of Dead's National Monument Field Trip to request for Orleans Elementary. By Karen Full, do you have anything, to add to that? And, okay, do I have any public comment on the Orleans field trip? Do you have a question, trustee?
Were you gonna ask her? No.
Is there any?
Yeah, it looks good. Yep, I wanna go.
I have a motion made by trustee Jackson, seconded by trustee Colgrove, to approve the field trip to the Lava Beds National Monument request for Orleans Elementary 5th through 8th grade classes to Tule Lake, California, June 2nd through June 5th, 2026. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none? Motion is approved. And sounds like things are fun. I'm gonna mess around with it. Next, we have approval of the school calendar for the school year 2026-2027. Presenter Jacqueline McCullough. So is this the first time this is coming to the, yes, so.
So typically in the past, the district has created the calendar and.
Well, can we present and then I'll, we vote on it?
Okay, and then they give options to the unions, and then they usually vote on it. This year, we had union members that were excited to work on it and create, the calendar themselves. We changed the face of it this year, it's a little bit different. But I think it's a pretty solid calendar. They got a lot of good feedback from the members. Really worked really hard on this, actually. I will note though, that, we reserve the right to change the dance days if we need to. And if we do that, we'll probably do that soon. I know that she asked and got quite a bit of feedback about when certain dances were this year. But if there's a concern about that, please speak up, and we can alter, some of those minimum days if needed.
When is the first day of school? August 17th?
The first day of school will be August 17th, school ending June 11th. There's a full week off for Thanksgiving, 2 weeks for Christmas, a full week off for President's Week, a full week off for spring break, 3 days in the fall for parent conferences, 3 days in the spring for parent conferences, so.
I'm just wondering if what's different from what you had in the packet.
Oh,
So see what's in the packet.
okay, so there was a change from what was put in the packet and right now, what's being passed. In the packet, there's only 2 days for parent conferences in November and 2 days in March, and then creating 2 days, half days for professional development. But the teachers did let me know that they really feel that they need those 3 days to meet with parents. So I just made them 3 days in the fall and November, and 3 days in March.
I have a
Yeah.
question. So does it bug anybody else that we're starting August 7th?
Yeah, just me.
Oh, and that we're having a full week off in February instead of. One of the things that concerns me is that we have all this time off in December and we have all this time off in January and then all the time off in April. And I don't, know, it just. Oh. Alright, so it just feels like. It feels like. Feels like we break our,
This one was Martha.
And we all.
It's on green, you're good to go.
okay, so what it feels like to me is that we're breaking up our school year a lot. And anyway, that's just, that's kind of my concern, and why it's such an early start date, what brought that decision?
Okay, can we, trustee Jack, no, I think I'm gonna get.
I had a question about the green, so I'm assuming that green means there's no school. Or is that the reason for early start date, because we have 1, 2, we have spring break, and we have February, that week, it looks like there's no school, and all of Thanksgiving. Hello?
I would like to,
So I just want clarification on what green means, does that mean there's no school?
Yes.
I've,
And then there's another,
I think that what I'm thinking is that I don't know if the board agrees, but I think that we all need to take a better look at this and maybe.
I agree.
Yeah, because I'm surprised too, because I just got to see this tonight.
You started school, where you know, not there.
Okay, well, see, those are the things that we need to know. I know that there was a reason for it, and that's.
I was gonna say that.
Okay. Sorry, okay, so I think we need to take it back and look at it, when I do think we need to get more feedback.
When we actually,
Could you come up, Joe,
Yeah.
and,
so this happened with this dance particularly quite a bit. It's so dance leaders, dance councils work really well with school. They always tend to try to set their dates based on historical starting dates.
oh, that works, did you get that? This one's, this means it's working. It's not right.
You gotta stand up on my.
have to push it, no, try that one.
There we go. Hello.
Got it?
Okay.
I got
Test,
it.
test,
I
test.
just, my fingers, I think it's wrong,
Testing, testing.
There's that one, that would work.
Siblings.
Okay, so I know historically in the past that I've remembered in that sort of finishing of days out, even pushing the start date back to one dance. Before they've actually had taken some dates, in President's Week to accommodate that, so President's Week set there. But I know you guys gotta deal with the teachers union as well, in this case. With some of all that, but I know historically that with dance council has tried very hard to schedule dances based on past school starting dates. Because it's really important for, these tribal members, other tribal members, to participate, not just in other tribes as well. But when school starts, they gotta leave. I mean, that's, taking that culture away from them, taking the experience away from them. And a lot of these girls, become period dancers or fasting, for their first time. And then need for 3 days of fasting, so they don't get necessarily to dance and to start and have them leave that community and put a while and it's tragic. It really was.
Do you have the dates for the mountain?
Yeah. 14th and 24th.
You're the.
13th, the 23rd.
22.
Yes, sorry, 13th.
And there's the dance is not all the time.
What I want to mention too on the side note is that the dances you guys go by the moon cycle for 2 of our high dances, the jump dance and deerskin dance. For the Europe, so we alternate, Upa goes, and then we go, and then they go. So the realization that, you could be competing 4 days off, but I don't think we should do that. I think we should go around our dances as opposed to the other way around. I think that, like Joe mentioned, there's a dance, group that says when their dance is happening, there's also a dance group in Europe tribe happens and the Upa tribe, and it's just not just one person saying, this is the end all be all. They come together, they say when the moon cycle ends, like I said, and so, yeah, so Joey just mentioned 10th moon for his. So ours, we're looking towards, like I said, there's a group that makes the decision, but towards the September 23rd, 24th date, to finish up, so that's how we do it. The realization that, we should have some snow days, we should have some other days that accommodate this. As opposed to the other way around, thank you, that's my 2 cents.
Do you want the
This is-
dates?
let's- No, not yet, and that's the thing, I'm gonna pick up this thing right here. That's the thing, it hasn't been said, as far as I know, I wouldn't be the end all be all anyway. But I could definitely get you guys connected with the people who say, this is the September 23rd is gonna end on, September 24th is gonna end on. And then once again, with the deerskin and jump dance. It's different for the Hoopas because they're wonderful enough to have the deerskin dance and then the jump dance. And then ours, we don't have a jump dance and deerskin dance together. So the Pequon is actually in correlation with the deerskin that happens in wage food, which that. But it's not the end all be all, so the realization that. There's about 5 to 6 areas from the mouth of the Klamath all the way to wage foods. That had a deerskin and jump dance together, so it would be really neat to see the board. Get some education on the high dances, and not to say the brush dance is the low dance, but it's not a high dance. Cause it happens every summer, but that's my 2 cents.
That was more like 10 cents.
Yeah, that's,
8.5 cents.
it's difficult because there are so much time, especially preparation, I would take that in, you got 10 days to fast and nicely before games and stuff like that. But I've said it several times in the past and keep saying it, but I wish the board in the future would take it into consideration, dances as the mainstream religion in the Indian country, because that is the religion, it's supposed to. Our breaks and our days off always tend to be wrapped around mentioning holidays. They say it's not, but it is. And I think local tribal religions need to be taken into account when these times off.
I just wanted to make a comment that in 2024, they got the whole week off. That
Yeah.
was for the Euro dances.
Yeah.
In the year after, for 2025, Hoopa took minimum days. They had 1 day off and then took minimum days. So now we're back here. Well, it didn't land on the right days, but yeah, and the school, this calendar stayed the same. So I'd like to see it if the dates are established and if something changes for dates, that'll get changed. That's not a hard thing
Yeah,
to
it comes
do.
back just maintain with relationship.
Right.
Between dance singers and dance community
Yeah.
itself, so I think there's again the parties.
And while we appreciate that everybody is taking into consideration the school calendar, we should not be creating a space where somebody has to take that into consideration. They need to do what they need to do, and we should be operating and supporting that.
Right.
So I support that.
We do, and we'll take another look at this. We'll table the calendar and we'll take another look at that. And if we have questions, can we call you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave my number.
So we'll pull the approval of the school calendar from the agenda today, and we'll go with that one. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the board trustee reports. Trustee Gray, if you have anything to report.
I do.
Trustee Hodge, that's me. You got it, this is nothing. I pass, I have nothing to report. Thanks, Martha McLaughlin, you're on to report.
So this is my report.
Absolutely, they all know. Thank you all for being here. It is the Cobra. Frank Richards. You want to give it, why don't you give us a little, about that grant?
An item that was on the agenda tonight is, it's factory housing builder grant. It's 1.5 million to create housing, and the component of that is for teacher housing. And for not just KTJUSD, but for this whole region, as all schools are suffering from teacher housing. And there's gonna be a couple different components to that. We're working on it, and I believe the Hooper Trib's gonna apply for it too. So hopefully by this time next year, we're gonna have some building going on, to place some homes for teachers. Hopefully get some teachers in.
Go ahead and keep, I think, last name. And Patty Kelly.
Yes, I'd like to announce and invite everyone, Thursday night, can you hear me? I'm better than. Wichita, Bureau Elementary School is presenting Coyote Steel Summer play with TK to third grade, students. It's gonna be awesome. There's a dinner to follow this Thursday in a couple of days, April 16th at 5:30. We're supposed to have our students there early, but we'd love to see you. And I'd like to, Stouter schools are really proud of their attendance rate. They've done really well in attendance. Their academic programs are rigorous and the students are doing really well. Students and staff are really right in there, and I'm really proud to share that.
Thank you. And the next rest of the list is just reports from our different departments. Is there anyone here who wanted to give an oral report from their department? We have several in writing. If not, that brings us to a public comment on non-agenda items.
Can I say one?
Wait, what happened to? Well, do we have a Katrina, did you want to speak on non-agenda items or, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I just want to give a quick TCIS report on
When,
when.
oh, okay, and I did need to skip over if we have any, the unions here also, I see that. But go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I don't know that part because we're. Hello, everyone. My name is Katrina Davis, and I am the TCIS Student Support Coordinator here at Orleans Elementary School. And I would just like to share some of our numbers with you. We just finished our third quarter, and I'm happy to say that Orleans Elementary, we are progressing in our attendance goal. Our baseline is 91%. We're currently at 92%, so that feels really good. We have about 50% of our students school-wide did not meet the attendance school-wide. 83 of our case managed students through TCIS are making their attendance goals for their students, so that feels really good as well. It makes a difference when someone is out of school that cares about them, and I've always heard that, and now that I'm in this position, I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it, and it's great to walk in here in the morning and have a group of kids come up and say, and just be that person for them, so that's a cool feeling. So there's 4 coordinators all together. So far this year, we have done 67 hours of tier 1 support, so that's full school. We have done 67 supports, which equals 246 hours. And that is attendance, incentives, goals, family engagement, partner support, and leading tribes and stuff like that. We have 223 hours of, oh, sorry, I just read. Me personally, I have, done 104 hours of academic assistance for tier 2, so that is the groups of kids that I work with. I've done 14 hours, tier 3, which is individual. Behavioral modifications, so we have a reflection room here at Williams Elementary now, so kids that are having issues in class, they can come to the reflection room instead of disrupt or be sent somewhere else. So with that, that is under behavioral modifications. So I have done 160 hours of behavioral modifications with kids. 42 hours of enrichment and motivation, so we have meeting groups and friendship circles and stuff like that. And then 23 hours of family engagement. What else? I feel like I think that's pretty much it. One of my biggest challenges is getting parents to realize how important it is to get their kids to school on time and every day. So that is, and I think that's why it's just that challenge that we face nowadays. Oh, yeah, and the bus would be nice. We don't have a bus here, so it's really tough. We have 2 vans. A lot of times they are full. So a bus would be awesome. Okay, am I done? Thank you, Minna. Thank you all.
Good job.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, there's that right there. Parking mic is here.
Not very tall, that's all.
There it is.
Every time. Well,
Hello, this is Bernie Joe. The mics are competing, is what I'm learning.
Oh, so we gotta get far apart.
And
Okay.
something like that.
Okay, we won't turn this one off.
Oh.
So, there's. I think about this, right? I know you guys are, everybody here, the community, we want to help. We want to help their community with a better place for our students. Outside council or, to. And what's hard, is we get caught out in numbers sometimes, the policy is involved. And when we get the simple things of relationships, and our students more now, they need those relationships with teachers in care. Teachers in California. Here, I watch here, full step up in the position of principal here. And then I watched 3 or 4 other principals come here and try to make it work. And it put in countless time after, picking kids up. She was still just a few months ago running the bus. Which I don't want to see any starters from anybody, but with all the climate that's going on now, the tragedy down in the bottom and the political climate, uncertainty, everybody's nervous, we're scared. We're tribal people, we're a small community. We don't know each other. And we get into positions as board members in community, people get fired, we have to go on things, whatever, but we forget about maintaining those relationships every day. It becomes this you against us kind of, and then when you losing these teachers, that these kids open up to, that these kids get violent. When we sit in our position, and when there's no transparency from the board, we're left to fill the story, we're left to fill in our own story. And that contributes to this you against us type mentality, and we gotta squash that. Not just for our community, for our children, it's perpetuating everywhere. We have a saying with when you go to the fair addicts, they maintain those trails, maintain the dance trails. You know, it's like maintaining those relationships throughout the community, because you guys are friends. And you're willing to listen to each other and see their perspective. And then it's easier to understand whatever decisions they've made, even if you don't agree, you can understand them. So I think, you know, with the climate that's going on, the lack of transparency and the stories that we gotta fill in, it's not good for our community. You know, our district is sinking, our districts are doing. Now, I don't know what the answer is, but I know it starts with putting a varsity. We're working together, collaborating together, community warriors, students, teachers. And teachers are our most important. We have hard enough time getting teachers here. We don't want to be losing teachers. You know, what are we doing wrong that we're losing teachers? We need to reassess our priorities that they become a holistic approach rather than numbers them all in policy. Remember those relationships, remember those individuals, those conversations you had. We used to, when we go get prayer items or dance leaders, and they would have coffee once a month, every month. Because that's sustaining the friendship. That's sustaining the whole community, giving strength. So it's not an echo chamber.
I make the motion.
It's not an echo chamber. And difference of opinion and difference of perspective is important. Because then it allows us to come to a common ground where everybody can grow. And be stronger. And we gotta get away from this pendulum idea of, you know, relay of highway. We gotta find a middle ground. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I did have Clarissa Reardon, did you still want to speak on the calendar? Since we pulled the same thing that.
Yeah.
Said,
I,
okay,
and I just hope that I'm a teacher here, I will be able to come to the first school if that is. That's just, I don't, it's,
regarding,
I'll figure it out.
it was regarding the calendars, and maybe Donahue, because you have the same thing. Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so that brings us then, did we have anyone from the CSCA? Oh, wait, I was gonna do that's okay, go ahead, then. I'll do the unions after. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you, I don't, yes, that's just not our system. So I'm Jordan Haley, those of you that don't know me, I'm the vice chairman for Hoopla. Lifelong community member, I grew up here in Orleans most of my childhood, first time I danced at the Jump Center was right across the street. And I just want to echo what Mr. O'Rourke said. I know this is hard times, you know, and I truly believe that every one of you are here because you care. And you want to be, or maybe you started out that way, and there's different feelings now, I don't know. You know, I talk to Jacqueline quite a bit, my office is right across the fence, so I'm a big believer in face-to-face communication, I'm not a big fan of Zoom, I hate cell phones, I don't like social media. I'm turning into that grouchy old man already, and I like it, it's fine, it's good, I am who I am. And yes, I just wanna say, I'm really bummed to see us lose such an amazing principal, you know, I guess I just in the back of my mind thought that you guys would backtrack it or figure something out, because your best performing school is right here, your best performing principal, no offense, Sandy, you're doing amazing too. You does a great job. But I really think we need to take a look at how easy is it gonna be to replace these guys? Our own tribal people are wanting to move out of the valley, because our kids are shooting each other. Our kids are killing each other now. I set up, with that big help of Louise, who I'm very eternally grateful for, I just had the idea, she did most of the work, is some listening sessions with all of your students. And I don't know how true this is, but I had heard a board member was really upset and trying to stop me from doing it. And I have no idea why that would occur unless something is being hidden. And if that's the case, then my mentality and attitude is gonna change immensely. I want us to be friends. I'm like my hippie mother, I believe in love and friendship. And I really think there's a way we can go about this to really rectify a lot of these issues, be able to communicate. We have to be respectful. And that comes from both sides, you know, if we wanna scream and yell and point fingers and call them names, they're not gonna listen to what we have to say. But when we have people up here and they're calm and they're collective and they're respectful, please listen to what they're saying. Because, and I'm just gonna get blunt honest, I didn't see very many of you at the funeral, I didn't see very many of you at the candlelight vigil in March. And maybe that wasn't appropriate for some of you, but you know, that's fine, I appreciate Frank for coming down to the listening session, not only was he not mad about it, he came, was a part of it, and that was great. I realized that everybody's work schedules are different, not everybody could have did that short notice, it was kind of, you know, just last minute, something I did, and then when Corey walked in and got killed. It kind of just changed it a little bit. But I can't think of a more dire situation or time than now, our kids are shooting each other in the face. Think about that. And from what it sounds like, they may have been preventable. I don't know. I'm not here to point any fingers. I'm here to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I truly believe that each of you want that too. So like Joe said, you know, and I feel the same way, and I don't want to, because I talk to each one of you. I've known most of you my whole life. I've grown up with you. I've grown up with your kids. I've mourned your children. I've been there. Like you know, but when we don't hear anything and there's just silence, especially for those of us in Hupak, we're such a deeply traumatized community, we automatically get defensive. And we think that there's some mischievous stuff going on. And, you know, and I'll just be honest, when I tried to approach a lot of your teachers to talk to them, it's harder than talking to mafia witnesses. They were so terrified to talk to me or be seen talking to me. That's alarming. And I don't know why that is. And I think a big part of it is just miscommunication. So like it's been said in many meetings, and different times we got together, please try to make time to go volunteer at the school a little bit, go talk to some of the students. Some of the students know some of you because you're kids, your grandkids, and that's great. And some of you would know you if you had a sign on your head. And so go down there and be a part of it. You know, I go and donate time. I teach a class on substance abuse and awareness. You know, I check in with all my nieces and nephews and my own children. And it's a great school, it can be, my daughter's an honor student at Stanford, she went through Hoopa Elementary and Hoopa High School, it can be done. Not a kid, it's the same thing. You know, my sister, her best friend, like, you know, but those kids have support, they have families, a lot of our kids don't, it's really sad, I had nieces and nephews in that situation that live with me from time to time with their couch service. And it's heartbreaking, and I just think now is the time more than ever for us that the BS of the past has gotta be in the past. I don't care if you guys like each other, I don't care if you don't, we have to be the adults. We have to lead by example, we have to show these kids that there's a better way. Because if I have to dig another grave for a child that I've watched, held in a basket, watched grow up, my own Mario. I'm gonna lose my shit, I think all of us are, including yourselves. It's inexcusable, it's not right, and I know there's a lot of other social factors and the chaos of America right now. Is not helping to foster a very comfortable environment for any of us. But those of us, whether, and even for non-native people, on the river, you know adversity, to survive on this river, you gotta be tough, we all know that. And you know, we thrive and we do our best when we do it together. When we work together, when we communicate, when we try to not point the fingers of blame, but own up to, you know, the responsibilities and the actions that we take. Because at the rate we're going now, it's gonna be hard trying to replace these guys and you know, I'll be very honest, and what about this, you know, a lot of your students had to say they miss Scotty. They thought, yes, he could be a bit of a hard ass, but he was fair, he communicated with them, he talked to them. And I work with Janice and she, you know, she's good, I'm not saying anything about her. But, you know, our poor kids go through so much on a daily basis, and when there's not any kind of stability and they're new people. A lot of our kids don't trust their own families. How are they gonna trust a new teacher every 6 weeks or every 6 months or maybe every other year? We really gotta try to foster some kind of long-standing stability. And I really encourage you guys to get down on the ground and go out there and talk to these students, to these teachers, make them feel welcomed and respected and heard. Because I guarantee you, they're not gonna be the last. And I just really feel like we're taking advantage, oh, well, we can replace them. can't, it's gonna be so hard with just the social dynamics, lack of housing, the entertainment. Everything else, there's so many different barriers. And then those of us in tribal admin know, because we're always constantly trying to recruit doctors, teachers, admin staff, whatever, I can't even get our own tribal members to want to move back. So I just really think we need to think about that and really take it seriously, because we're gonna take a big hit and we're gonna feel it, her husband. Is a music teacher, he's done a great job, I see my son who deals with a lot of social anxiety and other issues, finally come out of his cocoon and start developing the personality, not developing a personality, being more outward and open. And stuff, all because of the 1 hour a day music class he's been able to take, and just, he's been able to find someone that just gets him and understands him, and when I told him last week that he wasn't gonna be there, I saw my son break down, now he's terrified, because that one outlet at school where he feels comfortable, safe, and respected is now gonna be gone. So. I just wanted to put that at the forefront, sorry, I know I put over the time, but I just think that we're living through some really hard times, we're gonna have to make some hard decisions. And I know it's really hard to be accountable and to own up that we make mistakes, we're all human beings, I make mistakes. But I always own them, and I've always been honest about it, and I've always tried to make it right and move on, that's how I was raised, so I just hope we can do that, and we try to, do the best we can for these kids, and for our fellow staff. These guys, we could all probably be somewhere else making more money, having a lot easier life, we choose to be here, I moved away for a while, I came home because I wanted to help and make a difference. So I appreciate your time, thank you guys, I appreciate everything what you do, I appreciate all of you, you guys could have been sitting at home watching TV, hanging out. And we're here to love our kids, and so, thank you.
Thank you for that. I want to commend Jordan, my team, and all the meetings that are not council meetings for the Rupa Tribe, so I appreciate that. The fact that he stepped up for our community. Before Bob speaks, I just wanted to say, before the last superintendent who mandated each and every site to make sure to have a report for the board, for the community, at each and every board meeting without equivocation, without a doubt. It's very discerning that absolutely no one spoke for their site this day, because I'm gonna miss the choir teacher. He made sure that the students sang the Star Spangled Banner at all our sports teams. He's good at what he does. I'm sure this young lady is wonderful at what she does from what I've heard from the community just today. It's very discerning that not one site gave an update. And then, even then, if they did give an update, we say that it's in the packet. I wasn't able to read the entire packet, 147 pages. So the realization that the community online and in this room are not getting the information that we need, desperately need, that we need to say, what can we change? What can we make better? What can we do differently than what has happened in the past? So, and then it's very disheartening as well to not see some kind of memorial, some kind of acknowledgement of Mr. Moon who lost his life in this community. So we need something yesterday, a memorial, something that says, hey, this terrible thing happened, how are we gonna heal from this? So we need to make sure and keep having vigils and keep having recognition of our student that we lost, because that's very, very a blow to this community. So the realization that please, next meetings, not just the next one up in May, what is it, May 11th? May 10th? May 12th. Please have every single site board of trustees president, Mrs. Hodge, in all respect and all commemoration, please have each site tell us what they're doing. Have each board member say at least 3 updates. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kelly, for saying that one thing that's happening in the Winchbeck School. I'm sure there's more things, but please have at each and every one of your sites info for the community to get involved and to make things better place.
Thank you, Robert, and
Oh,
if we have the, Do we have any of the unions here want to do a report? CSEA?
No, that's it.
Oh. What's that? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, of the board, for your time and your service towards the students of our community. It was a very difficult decision. It's something I did not make privately. It's something that I apologize dedicated in. Is to issue a kind of board report in the public sphere. And this was difficult because we feel like we're not being listened to. We've been extending our hand out, trying to explain situations, needs of the classrooms, needs of the community of students that we serve. And it hasn't gotten any changes. Things have actually gotten worse. And I find myself puzzling, how can good people sometimes make and like the wrong move? I think it's information. It's not the integrity, it's the information that they have that informs their choices. I don't question the credibility and integrity of anyone that I'm facing right now at our board at all. The solutions for our district are looking directly at me. You are the best positioned people in the entire community to fix the problems that we've been addressing all night and all this year. What a foolish thing to say that I would be throwing luck at the face of you. No. There's a difference between saying we're losing too many points to interceptions and saying I've got a problem with this coach. The problem is that we're losing too many wins, and our wins are students. And that's from instability. And instability in a community like ours is directly tied to safety. Because when our students do not feel that the environment around them is secure, they immediately feel threatened. And it affects everything else that you try to do. As you know, with trauma-informed instruction, people are insecure, their energy in their brain goes towards fight or flight reactions. That's not the time where you're going to catch them at higher right reasoning to get them to maybe map with social behaviors or to learn a new skill. It's fundamental to everything, stability. I have a teacher that I refer to as a mentor, somebody who's counseled me many times. And they said to me 2 months ago at the high school, this has been our worst year. And I would agree. Worse than COVID. COVID's actually the third, I think, worst year that fast. But we have mold abatement. And we were pushed into portables that were not built for our climate. They started leaking when they got mold. Then we started our own little round of distance learning in these tiny classrooms that could be used. And then our principal would sit home without reason, with pay. And we got as many as 4 fights a week. This has been hard. And it's not because of anyone's particular fault. Fault doesn't get us anywhere. We're talking about responsibility. In my classroom, if I don't have a relationship that works well with the student and they dysregulate, that's on me. I'm responsible for that. It might not have been my fault. Their parents may have had a fight with them in the morning. They might not have eaten for 16 hours. But the responsibility means that you can respond to the situation. If you see somebody on a bike that's mangled and bloody at Ferry Summit, you didn't hit them. But if you keep driving, you fail in your responsibility. So what I'm calling on, is what I've been calling for the whole year. I don't think I've reached a point where I've spent less time reaching out than I have spent pushing back. I'm still reaching out. I'm hoping that with some public interest, we might be able to stop this environment from being called divisive. My team is students. If you're not on my team, I don't know why you're here. I'm here for the kids. Every teacher is here for the kids. Why haven't you asked me any information? I've emailed you. You haven't even. It goes both ways. We don't see it at the school sites. We do let you know what situations are problems and our concerns. We do know that funding ties directly to student services. Directly to student services. Yet our district has the highest reserve rating of any district in this county, 8 times higher than what the state recommends, 5 times higher than the number 2 district. for reserve funds. That's starting our kids' services. I do want to speak out proudly and support digital arts. But when we have a program that seems to have missed other sites because there wasn't staff involvement, to say, hey, that money might be allocated this way and that way, we missed an opportunity to see that funding reach the greater areas, spread the water around so that more plants could grow. You're working on CSSP for this year, which I'm really glad to see. Did you know that we're required to be part of that process? We have signature lines right there. Where's the CSEA signature? Where's the CTA signature? Where's the PTA parent group signature? Those slots are there for our signatures. Because, yeah, I don't know the first thing about a gas explosion, but a teacher will definitely have some things to say about how to get 16 fourth graders away from a gas explosion. We have to be part of it to be a legitimate document. So that whenever an accident happens, and we have only a minute to respond to something, we have answers that were thought out from all perspectives. Not done in a committee of one or two, but where people who actually know the environment, know the students, know the circumstances of their individual sites can contribute. We've asked to be part of the CSSB process. Dave Gill has been asking specifically for. And we've had no answer. The path forward is not by any of us throwing anything at each other. My God, we're trying to build a mess. We need all hands on deck. And I will put out, like I put out at the beginning of this year. We're here to find ways that we can work together because our kids need it. Their needs are getting worse each year. They can't afford to have this kind of slop in our teamwork. Because kids are dying. For the 16 years I've taught, I've lost 14 students. When is it enough? When do we have to change the way we're doing? The idea that some people have certain jobs and other people have other jobs, and we don't talk to these folks, we can't afford that. That's a luxury our students cannot afford. Please bring us back into these discussions. Please don't see us as an obstacle or as an enemy. Don't be afraid to come to our campus when we're having a campfire meeting because you're afraid we're going to say something to you. We need your leadership. You need our information. Together we can make this thing work. Thank you.
Laura Hurwitz.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Hurwitz. I am the mom of a 15-year-old at the high school. She went to elementary school here in Orleans. I've also been an educator here on the Rivers for about 30 years now. I started out as a teacher. So I'm here, I think a lot of times when I address the board, I'm here like on behalf of the teachers and staff. Because workplace culture really, really matters. And so like, I guess my ask of you all is that to consider this perspective of that you are setting the tone. And I don't say this to each of you on the board, but sometimes like approaching the board is terrifying, like terrifying. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't feel hostile to express your opinion. And that's something that I kind of hear all the way like down the line. And so like, that's what I really want to say to you is that you're setting the tone for the workplace culture. So the way that you interact with us affects the way that teachers interact with their students. And I'm currently in a mental health consultant training program that I was accepted into. And I've been learning about something called the parallel process, and it kind of just affirmed like what I know, which is like, and I've been saying this a lot, I think I've said this to you a lot, like staff wellness is the same as student wellness. So like a lot of folks have said tonight, like the teachers have said that when they come and they have something to say, they're not complaining. Please don't think of it as complaining, they're really trying to bring things to your attention. And you guys are the ones that you have the power to make the changes. And
like everyone else, I thank you so much, like for your time, for doing this. I know it's not easy. It's really, really, really difficult. And y'all are showing up for the kids. And I also believe that each of you is here because you care deeply for the kids. I believe that. But I think that if we could start like changing the tone of the way the board feels so that people feel comfortable just on top. And then I think that parallel process, we'll see it happen down the line. We'll see that how the adults get along with one another reflects on how the kids get along with one another. So I think we all have to do better, right? Like when I approach you, I have to do better. I think there's been times when I've come to the board and I've been mad and I've had a tone. And somebody else said that too, like, I think it's really important that we can make mistakes and we have to show our kids that they can make mistakes, and then we have to figure out how we repair too, right? And so, I do believe we can do it together, but, that really is my ask of you, if you could just like. Try to be a little softer sometimes, and a little more receptive so that people do feel comfortable to speak, and that, again, just like, please listen to your staff and your teachers. Teachers are barely hanging on, aides, all of the school staff, it's just the hardest job in the world, I think, like. Anybody who is still showing up is, my thank you, my greatest gratitude to all of these folks who show up on the ground every day, and it's beyond difficult. And I think it, is affecting, people's health and mental health and everything. I think a lot of people struggle with anxiety and depression these days, most of us. And so, yeah, just like everyone else here, I just like to see us all work together and move forward from here for the kids. And I really believe that we can do it. So thank you for your time. And yeah, thank you for continuing to be on board.
That's it. We don't have any more public comment. Go ahead. I didn't sorry. You might, I'm Megan here. I'm sorry, Megan here. You guys know me from the my roster of signatures trying to get the activity bus. I miss those good old days when that was my biggest concern. This year has been crazy. My son has been in Ohio for 3 years. My daughter, this is her first year. They went to Orleans Elementary, and I feel like things got really serious this year. Beyond, like, my kids do not feel safe at school, and I mean, like, it's like, I'm not really well prepared, sorry. I just really feel like we all need to take up space here, and like, we need solutions. I feel like it started when we lost Scotty, and there was no reason, explanation. He meant a lot to my son. He helped my son so much, and I know I already gave that speech at Old News, but I wish it wasn't, because he was like really present when, as a child at that school who was struggling, he helped bring him to a better place, and he was part of the community and was like up in there. And like everybody's already said so many like things that I'm repeating it, but he knew what was going on with all those kids, and he called me, he intervenes, and he was like, I really feel like it was a huge mistake losing Scotty wherever he is now. And I still don't know why he got fired. I heard lots of rumors. I hate rumors. But I would hate to see petty grievances make it so our kids suffer. Our kids are suffering so bad. There's so much sadness and loss in those children's lives. And this year, it's just so bad. And then to lose Ms. Cole and Mr. Cole because of this, it's like another huge loss. Like, they give so much of themselves. I come by at night sometimes, and Karen's car is out here so late at night. I've joked it. Does she have a platinum at that? Because she works so hard. She works so hard, and it's gonna be a major loss for this community. She is irreplaceable, really, I feel like. And I don't really know, like, I'm not coming here with solutions. I'm gonna come here with a bunch of hot air, but I just hope that the board can really think about how important these kids are. Like, when there was the gun at school, and as a parent, once again, I felt really in the dark because I didn't know until 10 o'clock at night. I was still awake. I was like, oh my God, there's this gun at school today. And there was no lockdown. I know McCoolville goes on lockdown like every other month, whenever there's even a slight threat. I just feel like that makes our kids feel like I don't know.
I just. I'm so overprepared, but I just really hope that. We can come up with better ways to take care of our kids, because it's not happening and. It's beyond suffering, it's great loss, and so. That's all I have to say, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure that I have no about it, so.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I wrote this down really quick while I was sitting back there, and then I get super emotional, so I tried and. I wanna make sure that I can say all the things that I have to say and. I just get really emotional. Hey, okay. The Ruchi program was something. They got paid a little money to Ruchi program before. I just wanted to stand up and say some positive words. I want to share a little bit of language, of course, in my language, in Canadian. When we talk about them or those guys, that word also includes you and I, myself. So when we talk about those guys doing better, we're also talking about ourselves doing better. With that said, I want to spotlight Woodchuck Elementary School. Miss Tuttle has made such great changes at Woodchuck Elementary through culture and language. I'm standing up here as a parent, as a grandparent, and as a Hoopa Travel member. Ms. Tuttle has implemented cultural events, field trips. She's included culture and language in her everyday classroom. It's all over in her classroom. The purpose of all Ms. Tuttle's hard work is to increase attendance, retain students, and improve academic achievement through scores, test scores, etc. We were experiencing a lot of student migration from that school. They were leaving Wichita Elementary School, and this year and last year have been our greatest numbers of students since I've worked for the district. Ms. Tuttle has provided evidence to us that student behavior and academic achievement can improve greatly when students are celebrated and encouraged. She has given her students confidence by celebrating them as major students, as year-out students. Some say Ms. Tuttle has paid her students to come to school. Yes, Ms. Tuttle has. She incentivized attendance and it worked. Her attendance increased. I always get these numbers wrong, but I think it's like 92%. However, Ms. Tuttle can't buy test scores. She couldn't pay her students to test phenomenally. They did that on their own. Wichita Elementary student scores have increased to above grade level, and that's for most of her students. I'm telling the story to give an example of what one teacher can do when thinking about a student's identity first, and then the behavior and the academics will follow. Ms. Tuttle has established a relationship with all of her families at Wichita Elementary. They all love her. They all, they feel safe with her because she created that kind of environment with them, the students and their whole entire family, and not just them. Ms. Tuttle has created a relationship with the Yurok tribe, with Miss Margot's agency. I'm so sorry, I think it's Cultural Fire, and the district's Indian Education Department. She has reached out to me and utilized Indian Ed to pay for field trips, to pay for different events and projects. We all worked hard together to show our students that their identity and their culture is important and recognized. You know, in my family, we were taught when we pray, we start out our prayer, we say, our prayer, we say, Shade in the sun. And that means to humble yourself, to act in a good manner, making yourself parallel with your land, with Fuqua, with Orleans, with Willow Creek, with Witchpeck, with Pequon. And to bring yourself to be in parallel with all of those people that live in those places. The answer, in my belief, is to bring back, you know, those types of, our tribal beliefs back into our schools. Help our students see themselves in our classrooms and bring their language, let them teach them their language. Some things that are said in our language cannot be translated into English. It's way deeper than just a one spoken word. I really wanted to get up here and say all of these great things that are happening in our district, and that our superintendent is doing a great job. This is her first year, and you know, we're giving her a chance to build something from, you know, we were in real low places, but this is her first year. So allow, you know, in our beliefs, we have a system. And we believe in our leader, no matter what, no matter who she is, no matter who he is, we have to fall under her. We have to listen to her and trust in her. And so, you know, encouraging her, supporting her best we can. We don't all have the answers, you know, every school in America is struggling like we are, but you know, giving her the encouragement and the support that, you know, we all can see changes happen together. And also, you know, I want to say how sad I am that Miss Karen's leaving, because she's a stellar administrator and, she mentored me a few times. But, you know, all of us coming together as one and not being separated by, what, you know, what we're not doing, but what can we do? You know, coming together, having solutions and not, discrediting anybody or, you know, bringing in our faults. Just bringing in what we have, what's good. So I just wanted to stand up and say these positive words and hopefully showcasing Indian Ed. So I said all that to do that, to showcase Indian Ed. We have a lot of resources, and if, you know, Miss Tuttle really utilized us, and she did great things with it. She did great things. I'm always gonna brag about her, about Witchpeck Elementary, because her test scores, they're phenomenal. And her attendance. So that's it, thank you.
I'd like to add on that real quick. My youngest child is a student of Miss Tuttle's. And really, you just can't say enough. She's 6 years old and she comes home and teaches us. She's native, our youngest girl is, my husband and I are non. She's teaching us your culture, her language, past, present, and in the future tense. To be with this as we need it. So she is teaching her little kids, TK through 3rd grade, her school does too. She's teaching them to be teachers in so many good ways. So thank you so much for that achievement. I appreciate it.
Do we have,
that part is, Indian policies and procedures. Do you have something? Oh.
I just had one question, I think we're with clarity. So for the policies that were for the first read, so those aren't approved in here at this time, but will come to IPP at some point.
The first, they should go to, they should be in the packet.
Yeah.
Right. Right. They're, they'll come to you. They should, they're in the packet, so they should go to everyone.
Okay, that was my one question. I'm still working on compiling all the data from the listening session in the high school. So I guess I can just do a brief overview on how that went. So we did 2 days. I came up with a big long list of questions. We had mentors, adults, from education, tutors, and high school. Really just to sit with different groups of students to run down and just kind of have an open again conversation about their thoughts on how to improve the school climate and what we're going to see in the community broadly. And as well, different questions, and really just more of an open conversation. And I encourage the adults to just let the youth speak and share what it is that they want to share. I think some of my greatest takeaways, that kids, they have said that they want to see more kindness in the community. That was a huge thing that I think what we did. They don't feel safe at school. They actually appreciated having and seeing these present at school. That was a positive thing for them. They wanted more positive events broadly at school and in the community. So they feel very separate and there's no cohesion. They don't see it with adults and they don't feel it with themselves as peers. And so they are desperately asking for more positive events within school and they're wanting more adults to step up just broadly. They have shared that they know that adults don't really want to step up to be coaches. There are some great people who continuously show up, but they also kind of hear that rhetoric of like people dragging their feet to want to volunteer to do those kinds of things. But overall, I think it was just a huge call out for, and then they also asked to do this again. They wanted more opportunities to be heard and to feel heard. I think those are very different things for them to have an outlet for them to be able to share what it is that they want to share. So they have requested that I come back at some point. But there's a lot of information. It's all qualitative information, so it's been a long time compiling. But I think for me, those were some of the biggest takeaways that I've seen so far. And also open if you have any questions you can, the topics that I have come up.
The food,
I didn't see anything about the food specifically, but we never really had targeted questions for them. Oh, water came up. Water did come up, access to water. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, they said that they don't really have water in classrooms, some teachers do, some teachers don't. Water is an issue in 7th and 8th grade as well. There's no water in those buildings. The water fountain's broken in the gym. The water fountain's broken, they either have to go to the gym to get water to fill up the water bottle, or the cafeteria, which is sometimes locked. So just thinking about access to water, and maybe adding a new hydration station in one of the hallways would be ideal. And also menstrual products, came up a lot.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you, Laura.
Menstrual products in the bathrooms. And access to those. They know that they are accessible to from my girl's office and the counseling office, but they don't always feel comfortable being there. So.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any more non-agenda community comment? Seeing none, we'll adjourn. At 7:57. Thank you.